Today, I have the honor of interviewing Chip Fu. He's one-third of the platinum-selling group, the Fu-schnickens. He's continually released music, and in addition to his hip-hop music, he's a reggae artist. He has an incredible flow, recognized around the world. In addition to his music, he is also the owner of Blaq Ink, a digital entertainment company. He also owns math workshops that we're going to talk about. They hold workshops in schools across the country. Hang tight as we bring him in.
I'm great. I can't complain, King.
Hey, man, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, legend. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Pleasure.
Appreciate that.
It's a pleasure. You know, you have such an incredible career that dates back decades. You know, people know you from Fu-schnickens. People know you from what you've done after Fu-schnickens. I'm not sure how many people, like another group of people know you for your reggae and for your hooks, the impact you're having on the education system. You're truly an icon. What I always like to do in the show is give people an opportunity to tell, you know, how they first got started, and then we can just organically walk our way up forward. So talk to us about your musical journey, how you first got into music.
First got into music, I was introduced to music by my brother. He used to play a lot of records in the house. Coming from a West Indian background, all I heard was soca, reggae, and calypso. So, you know, from that, I think that's where the flow has developed. But you know, I do come from a musical family. You get me? Let's see, my uncles used to basically arrange steel pan in the West Indies and build the steel drums and everything. So I come from a family that comes from that background. And on my father's side, he's from Barbados, and his my grandfather was a band conductor in Barbados. So all of that stuff, I guess, you know, is passed on to me.
Yeah, yeah, and then.
You know, growing up with my brother and hearing records, I just decided to start writing for myself. My brother started taking me to different dance halls and parties at the age of 11.
Wow.
And was just, you know, a lot of people just asking me to get on this mic because a lot of people at that time, a lot of older people, because I was 11 at that time, was like, this kid has this uncanny, incredible flow for his age at 11. And I think educated rapper from UTFO was the one that told my brother, you know, you need to watch out for your little brother because he has something special, you know, when I was growing up, because they grew up right around the corner from me in Brooklyn, East Flatbush, Brooklyn. So, you know, after that, I knew that I had something at the age of 11. So moving forward, I just honed my skills and I just kept working at it. And, you know, I was making sure that I developed something totally different from everybody else. I didn't want to just come out sounding like everybody else. So yeah, that was my journey to this day, basically, even with the music and everything else that I have my hands into. I want to make sure that it's something totally different that's not out there as of now also.
Yeah, you did it. I mean, your flow is unique. And I know there are many artists that have studied your flow. Yeah. There's many people that came afterwards, right? Yes. But you know, the Fu-schnickens came out very early in hip hop, had a tremendous impact, very unique sound. You all knew each other before you were signed. You were
Yes, I grew up with Pac Fu. Pac Fu and I grew up. We knew each other since we were able to say we knew each other. Our families knew each other. M.A.A.T.H and Pac Fu went to high school together, and I met M.A.A.T.H from Pac Fu, and then at that particular point in time, we were thinking of creating a group. So they started Fu-schnickens already. I was the last person to join the group. I was trying to do a solo situation at the time, but then I was like, yo, let me join the group and see what happens. So then I did, and then after that, we just started, you know, joining all the competitions. I was doing all the competitions in Manhattan, the hip hop versus reggae. I signed up, you know, and battled, you know, the hip hop side in the competition. Then I jumped back on stage and battled the reggae side. So I won both sides. And then that's when I started getting noticed by, you know, the different promoters and the different record companies, because I was able to jump on there and win both sides of the competition. You know what I mean? And move forward. A lot of people said that they never saw anything like that. You know, a person jump on the stage and rhyme, and then after that, you know, just go into a straight up reggae set, you know, in those times and just win. So
Yeah,
that's how the, you know, develop from there.
that's amazing, man. Yeah, when you listen to your reggae music,
Mm-hmm.
it's completely reggae. I mean, it's you know, you're singing and you're reggae and it's dance hall and it's everything. And then when you jump on and you get on the mic,
Mm-hmm.
you kill it. You kill it on the mic at the highest level. It's actually amazing. It's truly amazing. I heard a story that before you guys were signed, you were like at the mall and you saw Rakim.
Yeah, I saw Rakim in Kings Plaza Mall in Brooklyn. That was basically, that's one of my, you know, that's my idol right there. So for me to see him in Kings Plaza and for me to walk up to him and just say what's up to him, and he spun around and said what's up, that was all I actually needed from then. You know what I'm saying? Just moving forward. So I think for me, his name being Rakim and my name being Roderick,
Yeah.
you know, me, I was just like, all right, the R, this and that and the other, whatever the case may be. But it was big for me because, in all honesty, I'm able to see that reverence that he has in himself, and the fact that he's not changing for anybody,
Yeah.
and he stood on his word from since the time he came out now, and he's still respected for being that person.
Yeah.
And that's the person that I want to be when it's all said and done. Be respected for me for me standing on my word, believing in myself, and doing what needs to be done. You get me?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a cool story. The fact that you saw him and before you were signed,
Yeah.
and was like, all right. You know, growing up in Flatbush, you must have seen artists and people coming up and people with, you know, high level skill sets that made you feel like I could do this. That's so and so from right around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to see, you know, Little Sean, Howie T, Chubb Rock, Special Ed, Jiggy. You know, there was a lot of groups that came out of Cellar Dwellers. A lot of those groups came out, you know, after. Some came out after, some came out before. But just understanding that I was in the center of this different type of energy where, you know, for one, you had to be something different, and you know, if you're waving the flag for Brooklyn, you had to make noise. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that we were one of those groups that came out of Brooklyn that really made an impact in hip hop, and I'm super appreciative to this day.
Yeah, yeah. There's another story that I heard that you guys were performing at Howard University,
Right.
Fu-schnickens, killed it, and that ultimately resulted like in the deal with Jive.
Yeah, I mean, we killed it there, and I think Sophia Chang at the time was oh, let me not forget, Busted Melons came out of East Flatbush to a wicked group also. Sophia Chang was at the show at Howard University, and she saw our performance and was intrigued. Like, you know, I want to see, you know, what else these guys have. But I think she stuck around for all the freestyle battles that happened after that show, where a lot of people, you know, I was just stepping into different ciphers, and you know, I was getting ridiculed for walking around in that karate gi. You get me? Because I was walking around with the karate gi with the straw hat, but I was stepping in every cipher and was killing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then everybody started talking about, yo, there's this guy walking around with this gi on with, you know, this straw hat, but every cipher he steps into, he's murdering everybody. You know,
Yeah.
this guy. I think from that, Sophia saw that and saw the energy that we had, and from there, when we got back to New York, Jive got in touch with us, and we were able to move forward and do what we needed to do.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
The gear, the idea, the concept of Fu and all of that, how did that come about?
Fu-schnickens means fusion. We figured that we come up with a name that's, once you were able to recite the name, you wouldn't forget it. You know, shout out Fu and M.A.A.T.H for that. And you know, the whole wearing of the gis comes from us saying that we had our own lyrical styles that we came up with and fused them together. And for me, I actually studied karate because I was born with respiratory problems. So my father actually signed me up for karate school to basically learn how to breathe in a different pattern. So, you know, I wouldn't have to, you know, suffer from asthma or anything else that was, you know, respiratory related. So, you know, big up to my dad for that. And moving forward, I carried that with me. So I said to myself, when I step in the industry, I'm gonna let them know that lyrically ain't nobody gonna be able to touch me. You know what I mean? So that's what, for me, I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah.
That's where the Asian geese came from, and, you know, stepping into different ciphers and just murdering everything with the geese on.
That's dope, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. Fu-schnickens had such a incredible impact early on, especially with the first, you know, the 2 albums that came out. You had La Schmoove with Phife Dawg,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, there's pictures of you guys on tour, and it's basically classic hip hop, a who's who of hip hop from that era. But you also influenced Shaq, right? So Shaq comes out, and Shaq starts rhyming, and one of the first groups, if not the first group, that he begins to work with are Fu-schnickens, and you. I believe he said that he, you know, you're his favorite rapper or one of his favorite rappers. You're like a person he really looks up to and puts you on the list that you deserve to be
Right.
on. Can you talk to us about how he reached out, that relationship, and how it's continued over the years?
How it reached, I mean, in the very beginning, I mean, how it happened was, you know, his company reached out to Flavor Unit at the time. You know, Flavor Unit was managing us at the time. We flew down to Orlando, to an Orlando Magic game actually. I was watching him play, and I was just like, yo, he's a serious player. You know, every time he came on the court, it's something happened, actually. So for me, I was just like, for him to take basketball that serious, you know, I think everything else that he would actually put his hands on, he would be serious at also. So after having a conversation with him and going to the studio, and he stepped in the booth, I never forget it. I keep telling people the story about this piece of paper he had. It had so many rips in the paper, and you could see that he was rewriting certain things on the paper. To me, that stated that, you know, he took his time and made sure that his rhyme was perfect. You know what I mean? We didn't have to write anything for him when he stepped in the booth. And he stepped in the booth, he said it with the proper confidence, like he already knew that it was his time. So for me, it was just like, all right, he's doing his thing. And from there, you know, the friendship, it developed. Even though it started through business, the friendship developed over the years. You know, we still kept in touch. You know, we talk about doing different things. We even recorded new music that hasn't even been released yet. Like, we recorded a lot of music, even some a reggae song that he's on, where he made sure that he was in the pocket properly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make sure that once that record is released, that people will be like, oh wow, he tried a totally different genre, and it's right. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not corny. So for me, I think that that's an incredible thing, and you know, continued success to him. You know, and it's good to have a friend like that, a person that I consider family. You know what I mean? To be able to say, well, let me shout him or shout him out, or he shouts me out. You know, I think that that's a good thing to see actually in business nowadays. Because a lot of times in business, you'll never see two people shouting out each other or bigging up each other in certain interviews. You get me?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Yes, Shaq.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Shaq.
Yeah. Somebody said, who, Shaq?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq. You know, after Fu-schnickens, you've continued doing music. One of the things that people really look at you is for your killer verses. So you're like, you know, you've got featurings with a who's who in hip hop. You've released, you know, your own. You've got Blaq Ink, a digital entertainment company. Talk to us about what you're working on now, what new music you're putting out, and also, you know, on the reggae side also, because you've got in a sense 2 careers going on, because you're so incredible in both. I would say you're elite in both areas, and they sound completely different. Can you talk to us about what you got going on next?
Man, I have so many things going on. It's crazy. For me, the title of the album is called Royal Blood. Half hip hop, half reggae. I formed my own production company called Blaq Ink Entertainment with my partner Steph Kroger. And we're basically going to be doing production for other artists, along with doing videos for other artists. But the first release that will come out under our imprint would be the solo album. And then I started another company called M.A.A.T.H, Music Appreciation, Art, Time, and Healing, where I created a music initiative that's in, at least 10 to 15 schools and 2 colleges moving forward. And what I'm trying to do is just make sure that I build a therapeutic outlet for kids to come and learn more so about music, and to, get to a point where there's no need for them to posture. They could actually be themselves, and we could just mentor them the way in which we're supposed to. So those are the 3 things that I've been, solely working on. But other than that, back to the music. The music is incredible. Ain't nobody gonna be messing with me when the music drop. Trust me, I'm not even worried about that at this particular point in time. I think that the time that I had off, a lot of people thought that I took the time off. I wasn't able to sign any deals because I was still signed to publishing. I was still signed to a publishing contract with Zamba. So I waited all this time. So that's why the whole reggae side of things developed, and I was able to drop stuff under that moniker and still, keep the fans in tune to what I was actually doing. So, I mean, moving forward now, I'm happy that I'm at a point where I'm no longer bound by that contract anymore. Publishing contract. Big up to Aunt Marshall, another Flatbush veteran actually, who started Lyricist Lounge. Big him up. So that's another. That's one of the reasons why no one heard music. They only heard music on the reggae side, not on the hip hop side. You know what I mean? Because I was bound by that contract. So moving forward, you're going to hear everything. And I think now people has, gotten to the point where they were able to hear stuff, because, I have several songs at different radio outlets, and people are actually now finding out that those records that they've been hearing are my records, Afrobeat records, reggae records, hip hop records. So right now, in my career, I'm just having fun, running the companies and putting out music that I want to put out. You know what I mean? And I'm really enjoying myself right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm really enjoying myself.
That's fascinating, because it looks like, from what you're explaining, because I didn't know about the Zamba publishing deal. That was a little bit of adversity. So then you focused on another skill set that you really hadn't unpacked as much, and you dropped classics like "Love Me Sensi," which is like that's like the 420 song.
Yes, that's
right. That's like the anthem.
Yes, that was the 420. I mean, when that record dropped and no one knew it was me, it picked up so much and got played across the country and all around the world. And then when people found out it was me, it was like, wow, it's time for an album. But at that time, I couldn't, because the whole Zamba publishing thing. So now at this particular time where everything is mine. You know what I'm saying? Everything is mine. The companies are mine. The writing, everything is owned by me. And now I could dictate how I want certain deals to go. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I'm in a better position right now. Yeah. And even so, when teaching the kids in class about contracts, I could really teach from the position of understanding the type of contract that I was bound to. You know what I mean? So moving forward and being able to put out the type of music that I want to, it's going to be crazy. So I've reached out to several producers. Shout out to Pete Rock. Shout out to all the producers who've made this project what it is. I can't wait for people to hear it. I released like 4 songs just so people could just understand where I'm at lyrically. You know what I mean? But those 4 songs are nothing compared to the rest of the album. So I'm just in the space that I'm at now, in the space that I'm in.
Is it going to be a 2023 album?
Yes, it is. I'm about to film a video actually in June. Film a video. We're going to drop that video. And then from there, I'm going to drop an EP first and then the album.
Ooh. All
it's serious business moving forward. You know what I mean?
Oh man, that's good. We're looking forward to that. Is hashtag this, hashtag that? Um, is that on the album?
That was just me letting everybody know that I could actually jump on the beat like everybody else was and just have fun with the beat. But all the records that have come out, you know, that I've posted, those records aren't on the album at all. I have a lot of better records than those, and I was just putting those records out there to, you know, to keep the attention, to let people know that it's about to get crazy in a minute. So
Man, you're about to kill it. You talked about math workshops, but I wanted to really unpack it because I think it's very impressive what you've accomplished. The curriculum at math workshops has been approved by the Department of Education. It's in several schools across New York.
Yes.
For people that are not familiar with it, if you could tell us what the MAAT acronym stands for and what the curriculum looks like and what you've accomplished.
The MA.A.T.H acronym stands for Music Appreciation, Art, Time, and Healing. I think for me, what it is I am one of many hip hop teachers, I want to say. I mean, MCs that actually hold positions in school. That holds that position in certain schools. And when I became a part of that group, I said to myself, I wanted to do something that was totally different, which was to make sure that whatever curriculum that I brought to schools, you know, that the DOE understood it's not just an MC who brought a curriculum to the school. It's an MC who brought a curriculum to the school that now works, that now made a difference, that now increased the attendance, that now increased the graduation rate from where it was the last time. You know, me walking into several schools and them saying that half the school would fail out, and then the half the school didn't fail out. Half the school passed exactly. You get me? Able to help certain students pass certain exams that, you know, their parents didn't even believe that they can pass, you know, because of the curriculum. So, you know, the DOE had to come together and say that, you know, we have to do subcontracts with this company because his way of teaching is totally different. Our way of trying to teach basically worked for back then. His approach is totally different, you know, at this point in time. So we have to do contracts with this man. It made me feel happy. I mean, you know, you get to the point where there'll be adversity because they'll say, this is a hip hop and this is an MC. He's coming into a class where this is a place where he does not belong. And they gave me 45 minutes to prove that my curriculum worked. I was able to prove it to them in 20 minutes. I was able to have control over the class. Certain kids that were not able to, a lot of people are telling you to share the live. I don't know how to share the live. A lot of people that were against me coming into schools had to now, you know, call the DOE and do subcontracts with myself. And again, you know, increasing these rates within schools was an incredible thing. And for them to actually say that, yes, you know, it's part of the DOE and the DOE curriculum was a beautiful thing for me. To have the mayor's approval to say that, you know, moving forth, there's a company called Crown Hill in Brooklyn, another company called Brave You, who've partnered up with M.A.A.T.H to help bring awareness into certain areas within Brooklyn. So, you know, moving forward, I'm very happy to, you know, understand that, you know, I've created something that will actually live longer than me and continue to influence lives along with the music. You know what I mean? So I'm ecstatic at that. You know what I mean? I'm just very happy that it's moving at that pace. And then there's a lot more pieces to add because I haven't even dropped music yet. And my thing was to be that teacher that you'd hear music and be like, yo, that guy's incredible. And then one of the students say, that's my teacher. And you can actually walk into the classroom and the record that you heard that moved you is from the teacher that's standing in front of the class conducting his 45 minutes and making sure that, you know what I'm saying, that he mentors these participants within the class for those 45 minutes and give them all that he has, you know what I mean? And then leave from there and just, you know, continue to record and put out more music and go speak at different schools in certain places, man. I think that's the hat. I have to wear several hats like that, you know, moving forward. I have to, you know, more so make an impact on that level along with the music.
Yeah. Yeah, that's salute to you. Hats
Thank you.
off to you for that accomplishment, for what you're doing in the community, the impact that you're having on the lives of these kids. I think you're completely right. When the new album drops, when the new videos drop, and then you know you're doing the program, it has that much more of impact.
Yes.
The curriculum, what kind of you know, like, does it have music in it? Does it have other visual arts? You know, we live in a social media era. What type of things does it have in it?
There's photography, there's videography, there's engineering, there's recording, there's finding one's voice, there's classes for self-esteem. You know, it's more so about making sure that you can reassure a student and help them to see beyond their nose and to stop posturing. I think that culturally we grew up in this bubble where we follow these street laws that don't really actually play in the classroom. They only work outside of the school. So I mean, if you live in that bubble, then whatever it is that you're supposed to be blessed with, you'll never receive because you're living by the rules outside of the school. I think that when you're inside the school, if there's a teacher there that moves you and motivates you, then that's the person that you need to stay in tune with and ask those uncomfortable questions. You may need to ask uncomfortable questions. And I think that teachers need, I'm not saying that teachers don't, because I think that there's some teachers that give a lot of themselves, but I think that because parents don't understand the position that teachers play, they just say, well, I'm going to allow the teacher to raise my child with, you know, for those 8 hours. But moving forward, I think that it's something that a parent and a teacher should understand together. And I think parents and teachers should sign contracts moving forward that if my child is in your class, you know, this is what I expect of you as a teacher, and a teacher can be able to say the same thing. Well, as a parent, I understand that there's certain things that you have to do to make sure that you provide for your child. So within these 8 hours, this is what I expect from you. And I need help after the 8 hours when your child comes home, because this is what I've been teaching your child. I think that if there's more relationships like that, you know, we'll be able to raise our kids better while in school and while at home.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's incredible to see the impact that you're having on the community through your music, through this program. It's cool to see hip hop growing up.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool to see hip hop having this impact. And then, you know, you've got people in the political system also. The mayor, I saw the picture you had with the mayor, but he's heavy into hip hop.
Very much so.
Yeah, he's heavy into hip hop. And then even outside of the United States, you've got people like Shine and Belize, and it's a very beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, and you have Do It All, you know what I'm saying? Councilman Do It All from Lords of the Underground in New Jersey. I think to see hip hop grow up this much and for us to still be able to have those conversations with each other is incredible. You know what I mean? For me to be able to reach out to Do It All and talk to him about the schools in Jersey, and him saying, you know, I love your program. I'm going to see, you know, I'm going to introduce you to some people over on my side in Jersey to see if we could expand your program. That's hip hop growing up. You get me? To be able to have a conversation with the mayor, and the mayor says, you know, that he's glad that Crown Hill and Brave View have teamed up along with M.A.A.T.H to build this hub, you know, in Brooklyn where people could go and learn certain things. I think that that's an incredible thing too. You know, to this day, I wish my parents were alive to see that their son is making an impact and influencing this new generation, not only through music, but just something that I thought about sitting at the table and was saying that it was time to make a change. How could I make a change, you know, in the community by just using my brain and not having to work for somebody else? Because working for somebody else, you're helping them to build their dream. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that, you know, the math program itself belongs to the community.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something I created, but it belongs to the community because when I'm no longer here, I believe in my heart that they'll still keep that alive.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Hip hop is turning 50. There's a lot of shows. There's a lot of shows that are being put together. The Fu-schnickens and you are performing at Radio City Music Hall. Can you talk to us about that show and some other things that are going on related to that?
Man, a lot of people got in touch with me about the Fu-schnickens performing, and we're cool about performing at certain events. But I think that for me, this year means a lot with hip hop turning 50, and I think that respectfully, that promoters or people that are partnering up with artists, they need to do more business. I know that it's more so about the culture for some, but it's about business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that business should be done properly. It should be done understanding that it's business and that we're adults, and you're understanding that the Fu-schnickens, you haven't seen the Fu-schnickens in how long? So if the Fu-schnickens actually have to come back together to do a few shows, you have to understand that there's some things that need to be taken care of. So when approaching the Fu-schnickens, like how you would approach any group, make sure that you have your hat on, moving forward. I think this whole hip hop 50 thing is a beautiful thing. There's a lot of shows. The energy is different around the elements of hip hop, break dancing, graffiti, and everything else. And I can't wait to see what the mayors behind in New York City and what other states and countries have when it comes to celebrating hip hop 50. You know what I mean? So the show at Radio City Music Hall, it'll be myself and Pac Fu. We're basically only going to do Lash Move because it's 25 groups that's going to be on stage. 25 groups. So DJ Cassidy, when he heard that I was bringing Pac Fu and myself, he himself was shocked because he was like, well, Dag, maybe I can get another song. But because of the amount of groups that's on the stage, we have to just do one song. So I'm happy with the fact of jumping out there with my partner and doing one song for this hip hop 50 thing, man. But as far as moving forward with doing Fu-schnicken shows, those shows have to be done correct in order for them to happen. And that's the reason why a lot of people haven't seen the group. It's because you have to do proper business.
That's right. Yeah. The crowd is gonna go wild at Radio City Music Hall when you guys perform Lash Move. That's gonna be dope.
Yes, a person just asked, I'd like to know that you train karate. Yes, I train karate. I trained in karate and martial arts. I'm pretty deadly with it. I can't go through all those things, but I'm one of those people. And the good part about it is you can see that in certain people that has trained, that they don't really need to have to raise their voice and they move a particular way because they understand what they walk with. They don't have to exert that energy or exert that or use that as a defense mechanism to say, to make noise in the room. You get me? Yeah. Just answering one of those questions.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you. That's awesome. There's a story, see if you can remember it and share it with us, that at one point in time, you were trained and working in physical therapy, and there was a person that you were helping, and he told you about a favorite rapper that he had, and then you surprised him later. Could you share that story?
I after the group disbanded, I went back to school to study physical therapy sciences, and I was working in Cobble Hill Nursing Home. I went there to actually, I had to work there for 3 months in order to prepare myself to sit the exam. So while working there, I was just like, let me just focus on, doing physical therapy at Cobble Hill. While I was working there, there was a young man that used to come downstairs, and he always had his headphones on, and he'd be playing this hip hop music, and he'd always say, what you know about hip hop? And I never told him anything. And he just said to me one day, I need help. I want to be able to stand up and at the altar and marry my wife. I can't walk. So every day I came down with him and I trained with him in the parallel bars till he was able to walk. And then after he learned how to walk, One day he said to me, yo, man, I'm listening to my favorite MC. I was like, man, who's your favorite MC? And he said, Chip Fu. And I looked at him and I was like, nah, this can't be. You know what I mean? So I sat him down in the wheelchair and locked the wheelchair. And I said, I'll be back. And I went to the bathroom and I stood in the bathroom and I was just like, no, this can't be, man. And I went out there. I never told him until it was time for him to leave. So, you know, when it was time for him to leave, he thanked me about being able to stand up and walk to the altar with his wife and marry her. You know what I mean? I met the woman who he was going to marry. And then I told him, I gave him my name tag. I gave him my name tag and I said, do you know who that is? He was like, no, that's you. And I said, yeah, I'm Chip Fu. And he was like, no. I said, well, type my real name into the computer and then you'll see. So when he typed my name into the computer and he saw that I was Chip Fu, I mean, he called up his family and my boss at the time was like, man, we got about 20-something people in here looking for you. And I was like, well, yeah, you know, I had a life, you know, prior to this, you know what I mean? But that really woke me up. He became an ordained minister. I remember he called me one day and was like, you know, I just want you to know that thank you for helping me walk again. You know, I'm now an ordained minister, and if you ever need me for anything, I'm here. And I think that changed my life because of the impact of what the music had on him, you know, and me on the other side of things, seeing it from that perspective, saying, well, I'm here only to do physical therapy, but he's there saying, you know, this is my favorite MC and this is what's keeping me going. But then to find out that this is your favorite MC you're listening to and that's keeping you going, but he's also the person that's giving you therapy. You know what I'm saying? You know, he and I spoke, I want to say last year, actually, and he was just like, yo, to this day, this bugs me out that, you know, when I look on Instagram and I look at everything that you're doing, that you are actually there for me in the time that I needed you, you know, to learn to walk again. So I think, you know, that's a blessing and that's a story that, you know, that story in itself helped him, but it helped me the most. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's such an amazing story. And you've continued to have an impact on lives, and it's awesome. As we begin to wrap, I want to make sure that, you know, for people that have jumped on midstream and just to like refresh people's memories, this year we talked about you dropping a new album.
Yes.
2023. What's the name of that album again?
The name of the album is called Royal Blood.
Yeah.
The album is called Royal Blood. It's an incredible piece of work. I mean, you know, everybody can tell from the pieces that I've been dropping on Instagram, you know what I mean? The response has been crazy. I'm very happy that people are happy with the pieces that they've heard, and I'm just glad that I have stuff that's 10 times better than what, you know, they've heard that's, you know, prepared for the album, you know, and I'm still in record mode also, just making sure everything that I'm doing is up to par, you know, and I feed people what they need, you get me? Not just on the music side. My thing is also when performing and going to different countries that I'm able to at least have conversations with people. I just don't want to just go to different countries and just take money and perform and leave. I want to be able to have promoters, you know, have meet and greets so I could sit and talk to people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, you know, if there's a forum for people where they can talk to somebody that they respect about what they're going through, it would mean a lot more to them to be able to have a conversation about life, period, with an artist that you've grown to love that can give you answers, and then go see the concert after. I think that's a different way of giving back, where we actually share ourselves with family. I don't want to say fans, with family, where they understand that they're not just buying into the music, that this is a person that actually truly cares and wants to know what's going on with their family. You know what I mean? And you have those uncomfortable conversations with the family. You know what I'm saying? You know, whether you're in a room filled with married couples or a room filled with men or a room filled with women, you should be able to give them that jewel where they can take home and it can help their family.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. The new album is going to have you rhyming the way that, you know, we all know what you uniquely do. It's going to have your reggae, and then you also mentioned it's going to have Afrobeat.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Afrobeat is so huge right now.
Yeah, and that's what's shocking people, because I put up a snippet of a song called My Joy on my Instagram, and people went crazy when I was getting a lot of DMs about the song. They were like, "Is that you singing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know, I could actually hold a note or two."
Oh
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And what I did was I recorded a few. I'm in the process of recording a few more Afrobeat songs to actually release around the album. You know what I'm saying? So it could give the album more legs and show people that there's different sides of Chip Fu that they've never heard. And there's going to be a lot of surprises, a lot of changes. You know what I mean? A lot of surprises that I can't wait for people to dig into. So you know, it's been an incredible journey, and I'm glad to be where I'm at now. I wouldn't change anything for the world because, you know, I learned from my mistake and I learned from mistakes and from others. So moving forward, you know, my experiences could influence lives. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. For people who, when the album drops, want to, you know, promote, help, you know, book you, if people want to reach out to you for business inquiries, if people want to reach out to you for math workshops, they heard about it here, and they're like, hey, you know, do you do other parts of New York? Do you do other parts of the tri-state?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the best way to reach out to you?
You can get in touch with me on Instagram at ChipFu. But there's also the Math Workshop Instagram page on there too. If you know you want to leave a message that you can, talking about either becoming a teacher for math, or if there's a principal that's interested in bringing the program to their school, we can definitely set something up where we're able to bring the program to the school. And for those looking for the new music, stay tuned. You know, follow me on Instagram at ChipFu. So you know, we can move forward and do, you know, incredible things. And it's not, again, it's not only about music. It's more so about empowerment. Yes, I'm putting out music basically to gain the attention of the masses so I could actually help those that they may know, you know, that's part of the masses, you know what I'm saying, which is bringing attention and awareness to individuals that, you know, lack in certain departments, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Chip Fu, you are a legend.
Thank
You're an icon in music. What you're doing in the community and helping the youth, empowering the community, it's amazing.
Thank
I think the best is yet to come for
you.
you. I mean, there's so many levels to this, and I personally cannot wait for that new album, Royal Blood. And I thank you, my bro. Thank you for taking the time and for talking to us and sharing your story.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Peace.
All right, take care. Peace.